Hi guys, I would like to introduce you to the UI. We have different categories, and in each category we have different actors that you like to extract. This list will expand, but at the time of recording this is what we have. And also would like to talk a little bit about the workflow. You usually start with concept art, and that could be references, could be pictures. In this case we're looking at this really talented artist that I found on ArtStation, and we're gonna do a sample workflow where we're pretending that the artist gave us this concept art. So what we're gonna do is use that exact image, and we're gonna decide that we would like to extract the HDR. So we're gonna open this scene. This is from the marketplace. I'm gonna put a link in the description of all the assets in this video. And this is such a great scene, really nice composition, really nice lighting. But let's say that, well, the direction is a different one. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So more like a lower sun but blue sky, some clouds, some wispy clouds. So what we're gonna do is we select the image and then we just press copy, or you just press you can press the button or press on the keyboard Ctrl+C. And what's happening in the background is the Reverie will start downloading all of the assets and then copy them into your project folder. Once that is ready, it will give you a message. Now I'm gonna select all the lighting and delete it. And just like that, we have a new material with a HDR dome applied to it, skylight, directional light, post-process, and some exponential fog. Even if it says HDR in the menu, it comes not only with one material, it comes with all the actors, as you can notice in the outline. And you can see how it's matching. This might not be exactly 100%, but it's what the AI thought was the closest to your reference image. So, well, we actually would like to test a completely different lighting, so this is a second image from the same artist, and we're gonna do is we save it, select it, and you could generate straight away. But let's say in this case we would like to get a different kind. We're actually using sun sky, and we would like to have volumetric clouds. So we're gonna generate it, same message. We can just minimize this. You can just save it, rename it, do whatever you want, or just delete it from the scene. It will still be in your project folder. And now we do the same steps. We just Ctrl+V, or we go to the menu and go to the paste option, and we have for different lighting. As you can notice, this is fully volumetric lighting with the sun sky system. It's always good to bring back the image, the original image, just to compare tones and intensity. Exposure might be different, but that's something you might need to adjust on your end. But overall, Reverie will give you something really similar. It's a great starting point. Anyways, it's better than starting from a blank screen. And all these assets will be for you, ready to use on your games or your movies or whatever you're creating. You will have a full license for these assets. As you can see, this is a more artistic approach, and the vision is that everyone will have access to create the worlds they will imagine. In this case, I already had a scene. What if I want more than the lighting? What if I would like to create a full scene lighting, landscape, everything in one go? So we're gonna just, in this case, we're gonna enable the landscape option. Procedural means that it's gonna be a procedural foliage. We're gonna create a new landscape with procedural grass and procedural forest. So let's create a new scene, and we're gonna press copy. In this case, we're gonna be downloading and generating more materials, all the landscape materials, also some brushes, some scattering maps that have to be downloaded. So it's gonna take a little bit longer, and it depends on your connection. But the process is the same. Once it is ready, we'll give you a message that you just press Ctrl V. And there you go. So as we can see how it's loading, you can see there's one volume that we might have to just select and then press resimulate. These are the procedural forest. It's already associated with its meshes, meaning the trees that is selected for this specific scene. All we gotta do is press this button and sit tight. Once it is ready, well, we have a complete scene. How awesome is this? From one image to an entire world that we can just navigate around. If we bring back the original image, you go like, well, yeah, we got mountains, we got pine forest. I can see how it's a little bit greener or a little bit yellower. You can start getting picky with it's not exactly the same, but it's not intended to be exactly the same. It's trying to give you a starting point to create your own world, and then you modify it so it won't look the same for everyone. In this moderately large environment. The next step would be the color grading. And color grading is such an important part of visual communication. So for this example, we're going to open this scene and we're going to try to get work out a few movie scenes here from Harry Potter and Children of Men. And the architecture, of course, in London reminds me of these movies. So, and let's say that we're gonna generate use this one as a target. So what's happening in the background? This is doing a histogram, a color histogram equalization. So in other words, we are extracting the colors from the original image, and then we are applying it to LUT, so the engine can use it. UE5 uses something called HALT LUT, which is just a format. It's this long image in which each pixel has a specific color value. It's just the way that it's represented. And we can see how immediately we get something closer to the original, to the target photo. We get something like this one, which has interesting greenish and yellow tones. If we try to, let's maybe change the camera a bit here to have a similar angle. One thing we notice is in the original photo, in the benchmark, we have this overcast lighting. So the lighting is very important. Here we have a different lighting, so might not work very well as we can see here, because there's also a high key image. Here we got more low key or more balanced. We got hard shadows. So It's also a few things. It's not only it's not a silver bullet solution, of course. It's part of a bigger picture, and color grading is just part of it. You have to also work with lighting. But let's do something maybe in the opposite. Let's do something more low-key, like that one. It's really nice lighting. This is from the Reverie. And if we generate this, we're gonna straight away get something really moody. And there you go. Really like that distant subtle fog. Shouldn't be too obvious. Well, and when we put them back to back, we can see how it really nailed that look that we have in the benchmark image. Yeah, I'm really digging this lighting. Even interesting, even if it's not the same subject. Here we have a Victorian Street, and the other one we have a man on a misty river. But is the palette what's important? But if it works, that's all that matters. It's really nice. Let's say that I'm happy with this thing. We're just moving around and see, just showing you how quickly you can get completely different looks and feels. Notice that we're using for the color grading LUTs. This is not the preferred workflow at the moment. You can also do the color grading with the wheels, which is something that we're gonna be using in a future release. But there's still some usefulness on creating one LUT file because you can swap between files really quickly and keep a history of them. If we go to this next scene, got a redwood forest, really nice, a little bit overexposed I think, but let's not really change the lighting. This is more about the palette, so I'm not gonna do a lot of post-processing. We can start tweaking the shadows, highlights, maybe the shoulders, but let's just keep it as it is. Let's use this scene. This is actually from Harry Potter, just because it's another forest. Well, but this one is very dark, as you can see. It's almost like each Harry Potter movie started dropping EVs. They got darker and darker, literally darker, meaning the exposure, but also metaphorically. But let's not really touch the lighting here. We're just gonna show what you can get, and then actually the LUT also drops some of the exposure, which shouldn't be really that way, but it's just because the reference image is that dark that the colors are also tinted, and it brings also the lighting down. Maybe if we try a different one, this is cool that you can really experiment. It doesn't cost anything for you to experiment, to test. That's how it should be. It should be inexpensive. You should have that curiosity, almost like that childlike curiosity about what can I create without fearing the cost of trying to achieve that vision that you have in your mind. In this case, since the lighting is actually very similar, and also this scene, you can see almost is like a one-to-one matching. We have a really close scene if we compare it with this screenshot from this is a thing from Pan's Labyrinth. If we change something radically, if you change it to a very different scene and lighting, this is 2D sketch concept art from The Last of Us 2. Yet another great concept art from Naughty Dog. They always have the best concept art. We get something cooler, really nice muted tones. I could go and start changing these hard shadows shouldn't really be there with this kind of lighting. So maybe if at this point, when you're happy, you can start actually changing the lighting, or you can just get Reverie to generate entire new lighting for you. But in this case, that you like just to do small variations, you can just do literally change the source angle and maybe the intensity, and then you can start just getting deeper and deeper. If you really picky, you say, well, I also need more than that. I also like to get that really nice exponential fog, that distant fog, and there's something also you can extract and generate. But there you go. So you have a better idea of the possibilities so far, and as you can see, and we're not showing all of them, there are a lot of new features in the pipeline. For instance, the soundscape, and that's something that we've been working very hard on. And we're really excited about all the tools that we're going to put at your disposal, but at least you can have a look at the workflow that Reverie can give you. Alright, that's it. Thank you.